The Sky News Leaders Debate and People's Forum is just over an hour away in Brisbane. So ScoMo and Albo probably stretching their hamstrings, getting their ankles strapped as we speak. There'll be people watching this, of course, right around the country, but none more so than in Parliament House in Canberra, where the press gallery resides, and a lot of the heavy hitters will be watching on from there. One of them is the political editor of the Australian Financial Review, Phil Coorey, who joins me from Canberra. Good to talk to you, Phil. Must be
no worries, Chris. Good to be here.
There's always a bit of expectation for these leaders' debates, but I think on two grounds, because Anthony Albanese had such a bad week last week, and because the Prime Minister's, of course, been behind in the polls so long, there seems to be a lot more invested in it this time.
Yeah, absolutely. They really are both sort of level pegging at the moment in terms of where the parties are. Neither are in a position to form a majority government if the elections, say, were held in the next couple of days. So it's not like either is defending a lead. Both need to sort of get a move on, if you like, and start winning votes. I think roughly, Chris, to win the election from here, both either Labor or Liberal needs to pick up about 600,000 votes, roughly, that 4% or so, to get to the 39-40% they're going to need. So for both leaders tonight, obviously rule number one is don't mess up, don't stuff up and do anything that's going to be talked about tomorrow in a negative way. But hot on the heels of that is to actually sort of start trying to win some of those swing voters back who are parked in the undecided or the independent column at the moment.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You want to avoid a gaffe. Anthony Albanese, we saw being very aggressive today. I talked earlier to Cameron Milner about that, the Labor strategist. He says that's deliberate. He says that's passionate and it's good. And he expects to see more of that from Anthony Albanese tonight. Is that a risk if he goes a bit too hard, trying to lob a blow on the Prime Minister?
Look, if it's just rhetorical flourishes, yes. I think you've got to be a bit careful. People will be looking tonight for composure. To make your points succinctly and sort of firmly but politely. If you get too yelly or screechy, I don't think that's going to help you. Scott Morrison, I imagine, will be mindful. Remember this same forum with Bill Shorten 3 years ago, where he got right in his face and almost gave Shorten that Mark Latham moment, where Shorten sort of called him a space invader. So,
that's right, yes.
Acts of belligerence and rowdiness probably not a good thing. Composure. Positive affirmation of your views, but sort of keep it civil. I think, just listening to Justin in your previous segment, it is becoming a very angry election, and I think that's turning people off. There's a lot of claim and counterclaim being made without much substance, and if you want to engage voters, you're going to have to do better than that. Yeah,
I was going to ask you about the substance. There's a long way to go. I suppose we could see some great, massive landmark policy release, but it seems that that's unlikely. What would you see as the key policy areas in this election contest?
Oh, they sort of change every day. I mean, we were talking about industrial relations for about a day and a half, and that's come and gone. And look, it always comes back to the economy, Chris. It doesn't have to actually be a policy to it. It's just who's going to manage it better, and that plays to the coalition's favour. And Labor will pull the health card. But I was a bit concerned for Labor. This week they went back to the bushfires and the vaccine rollout and the floods and stuff. It's sort of like a bit of a one-card trick. If you're sort of resorting to that in week two, it's not hugely encouraging because it's hard to milk that for a whole 6 weeks. So I assume they've got something up their sleeve, as does the Prime Minister. I mean, he is sort of doing a bit more on the policy front, even if it's not spectacular stuff, university things and small defence announcements and so forth. But I suspect ultimately the person who wins this will be rewarded for having, substance over just sort of shoutiness. Shoutiness can't feed the bulldog for 6 months. 6 weeks, it really can't.
Well, great stuff, mate. Get yourself a cup of tea and we'll be interested to read your thoughts on it tomorrow.
Terrific. Good luck. Bye-bye.